Hey, it's Andrew Huang. Expressive E have done what a lot of people have asked and made Osmose CE the controller edition of their flagship Osmose synthesizer. Some of you know I've been a fan of the original since it came out. They've cut the price almost in half to make a controller-only version that has a few tricks up its sleeve. It essentially has all the same features as the original, just not the built-in sounds. You can use it to control other MIDI instruments, whether hardware or software, including the new Ctrl-e plugin from Expressive E, which sounds amazing and is free for Osmose CE owners, and I'll show it to you in a bit. Thanks Expressive E for sponsoring this video. Let's take a look at the CE. As far as I can tell, it's the exact same key bed, and you get the same truly game-changing performance capabilities that the original Osmose introduced. You can move any key left or right to bend its pitch. You can set how much pitch bend you want. You can choose to set up pressure glide, meaning you can bend between two notes of any distance based on the amount of pressure you're applying to each note, so you have full control over that bend, as opposed to typical glide controls that set a fixed speed globally. Envelopes can be shaped by your playing velocity, so pressing softly, a note will fade in. Pressing harder, you'll get an instant attack, and within that there is a whole expressive range. Beyond that, there is a polyphonic aftertouch layer, where you can activate an additional dimension of expression by pressing into the key bed. You can also use a gesture called lift, where if you release a key quickly, it will produce an extra note, often with an interesting variation on the sound. But you can also lift gently to not have that extra note. So altogether, it brings a whole bunch of tactile and dynamic control to the keyboard paradigm in a way that feels more natural to play than anything else out there. And so it's just so much easier to add this nuanced expression to your playing. You can use it to control anything that accepts MIDI, though obviously MPE-enabled instruments are the ones that are going to be able to fully benefit from all of the Osmose gestures. One of the best things you could control with it, though, is Expressive E's new Ctrl-e plugin. Again, this comes free if you buy the Osmose CE, and it ships with over 900 presets that are optimized to use these expressive gestures. They're really easy to browse by different categories, including some of the optional gestures. Interestingly, in addition to Expressive E's sounds, they've also partnered with a great list of plugin companies, so within Ctrl-e, you can actually access presets for a whole bunch of fantastic synth plugins, whether you own them or not. The difference is, if you own them, you can click up here on Edit Map, and you get the full synth within the Ctrl-e plugin to edit as you like. For any that you don't own, the Edit Map won't be clickable, but you still get 8 macros to shape the sound pretty dramatically. And by the way, Vital and Zyklop are free synths, so there's nothing to buy there. You can access their full interfaces within Ctrl-e. The controller also has some nice integrations with the plugin and with your DAW. At launch, they're supporting Cubase, Ableton, Bitwig, and Logic, but they're planning to add some more. If I go over to DAW control mode, I can browse presets on my currently selected instance of Ctrl-e. I can adjust the macros. And since there's only 4 knobs down here, I can click any of them to switch if I'm adjusting the top or bottom one. These tabs are the same as in the external MIDI mode. You can set your sensitivity, you can engage the arpeggiator or pressure glide, but then you've also got a bunch of DAW controls. So play and pause, stop, record arm, and I have my Ableton set to automatically start playing if I record arm. You can toggle the metronome on or off. Also, if you're on one of these other pages, then you can hold Shift and it's basically like a momentary jump to this page. But what that means is you can go shift play, stop, record arm, and metronome, and not have to leave the tab that you're on if you want to stay there. You can turn your loop brace on and off, and you can move it around. If you hold the shift button while adjusting that, it changes the endpoint of the loop. You can select what track you're on, and you'll be controlling the Ctrl-e plugin for whichever of these tracks you select, if you have multiple Ctrl-e plugins. You can even select other devices in your DAW and control their parameters from the macros tab. You get volume and panning for each track. You can also mute it or solo it. I don't have any sends in my project, but the first two send amounts are controlled from here. There's even more stuff down here if you hold shift, though I won't get into every single thing. And I also wonder if some of it might be like Ableton exclusive, because scenes and clip launching, I might be wrong, but I don't think that's in Cubase and Logic. And then your preset and octave buttons also have shift functions. There's undo and redo. There is a tempo setting, so you can either use the knobs or you can use this button as tap tempo. And then shift and octave down is quantize, and that applies to any MIDI you have selective, but effectively, if you've just recorded something, that will be your current selection. So after you finish recording a thing, shift quantize will quantize what you just played. Though I guess if you're selecting clips in your DAW and then hitting shift quantize, it might still be a faster way to quantize than the usual way that you'd go about that. By the way, they've told me this stuff is coming to the synth version of the Osmose too. Leave a comment. I'm interested to know what you think of the Osmose CE.